Radioactive is fourth, followed by the long-time leader Spitfire Boy, then Routemaster, High Definition, Trouble at Mill, Steeplejack, then Tailplane and Postal Vote together, and finally the filly Pink Pashmina, who has finished a long way last. I pushed the button that switched off my microphone. "First, number 10 Sudoku," said the judge over the PA. "Second, number 1, third, number 4. The fourth horse was number 8. The distances were a neck and 2.5 lengths. The PA fell silent. The race was over. The excitement had come and gone, and the crowd would already be looking forward to the next contest in 30 minutes. I looked out across the track and felt uneasy. Something there hadn't been quite right. It wasn't my commentary. I hadn't confused the horses or called the wrong horse home as the winner, something that every race caller had done at some time in his life. It was the race itself that hadn't been quite right. "Thanks, Mark. Great job," said a voice in my headphones. "And well done mentioning every horse, and thanks for the finish order." "No problem, Derek," I said. Derek was a producer for Racing TV, the satellite broadcaster that was showing the racing live. He would be sitting in the scanner, a large blacked-out truck somewhere behind the racetrack stables, with a bank of television images in front of him, one for each of the half a dozen or so cameras, and it was he who decided what pictures the people at home or in the betting shops would see. The TV company didn't have their own race caller, so they took the course commentary, namely me. But they liked it if all the horses were mentioned at least once, and they were pretty insistent on the full finishing order being given. That was fine with 12 runners, but not so easy when there were 30 or more, especially in a sprint like this, when the whole thing was over in less than a minute and a half. "Derek," I said, pushing a button on the control box. "Go ahead," he replied into my ears. "Could you make me a DVD of that race, to take home? Every angle?" "But she didn't win." "I still want it," I said. "Okay," he said. "It'll be ready." "Thanks," I said. "I'll collect it after the last." "We'll still be here." There was a click, and my headphones went silent once more. "But she didn't win," Derek had said. "She was my sister, my twin sister, to be precise, Clare Shillingford, a top jockey with more than 600 winners to her name. But that race had not been one of them. She'd just come second by a neck on Bangkok Flyer, and I thought it was her riding that hadn't been right. I looked at my watch. There were 20 minutes before I needed to be back here in the commentary booth for the next race, so I skipped down the 5 flights of stairs to ground level and made my way around behind the grandstand to the weighing room. I put my head through the open doorway of the racetrack broadcast centre, a small room just off the main weighing room that was half filled with a bank of electronic equipment all down one wall. "Afternoon, Jack," I said to the back of a man standing there. "Oh, hi, Mark," said the man, turning around and rubbing his hands on a green sweater that appeared to have more holes in it than wool. "Everything all right?" "Fine," I replied. Jack Laver was the technician for the on-course broadcasting service that relayed the closed-circuit pictures to the many television sets throughout the racetrack, including the monitor in the commentary booth. His dress sense might have been suspect, but he was an absolute wizard with electronics. "Fancy a cuppa?" he asked. "Love one," I said, and he disappeared into an alcove, re-emerging with 2 white plastic mugs of steaming brown liquid. "Sugar?" "No thanks," I said, taking one of the beakers. Weighing room tea would never have won any prizes for its taste, but it was hot and wet, and both were good for my voice. A race caller with a sore throat, or worse, laryngitis, was no good for anything. Peter Bromley, the legendary BBC race caller, always carried with him a bottle of his special balm, a secret homemade concoction containing honey and whiskey. He would take a small swig before every race to lubricate the throat. I was never as organised as that, but I did like to have a bottle of water always close at hand, and tea was a bonus. "Jack, can you show me a replay of that last race? Just the last quarter mile will do." "Sure," he said, moving toward the electronics. "Did you get something wrong?" he asked, glancing over his shoulder at me with a huge grin. "Get stuffed," I said, "and no, I didn't." "You'd never admit it anyway. You bloody